Hello, everyone. Glad to see you on here. I hope you're doing well. I want to just pop on for a short bit to share with you a little bit about the power of our breath, something that I've been studying for several years now, and am really blown away the deeper and further that I go, that our breath is something that is so profound, has the capacity to help our body to heal, has the capacity to help us emotionally regulate, mentally focus, and even connect in a deeper way with God. You know, you kind of think, well, how does that all work? And something so fundamental and really ultimately free. We've been given this beautiful gift that we don't often know how to use. I think that's one of the things that I was so blown away as I started really studying breath work. I always thought this word, breath work, that means I have to sit still and breathe. And I don't know how powerful that could really be, but I am a science nerd. I love nerding out on simple things like, how the body works and functions. I love body, soul, and spirit. I love combining that piece so that we can really walk in whole human beings that God has created, that we are not divided on the inside, right? I just think of that scripture that says, a house divided cannot stand. And when you're divided internally, your body is not really as engaged with your brain and your heart. Everything is always going to be working together because that's the way it has to work. Your brain does tell your body what to do. I do tell my hand to go up and down, but so when we say divided or disconnected, a lot of times what we mean is that we're not aware of what it's communicating and we're not listening to it. If I can feel this feeling and I just kind of ignore it, then I'm ignoring something going on either in my emotions or in my body. And what we're meant to do is begin to learn how to listen, begin to learn how to respond and not be overrun by it either. And so our breath is something beautiful that ties all that in, because the breath actually literally changes the chemistry of your physical body, right? We know we breathe in oxygen, it gets turned to carbon dioxide, and it gets released out. There's also a very powerful chemical called nitric oxide that comes in only through the nose, through certain passageways, and nitric oxide is very healing, helps your body to heal and turn over old cellular damage. It helps your body to get into a place of calm. So there's a lot of physical chemistry that happens in your breath. We also know at the very beginning, we were not a living being until God breathed into our nostrils, right? He created Adam from the dust and he built him and he created all the details, but then God breathed in and gave us life. So it's a fundamental need and necessity that we have. You hear me say regularly, if you listen to me, that, food, we can go 40 days without food and be okay. We can go a few days without water, but we can really only go a few minutes without breath. It is so necessary for every single function of our entire body. Every cell needs oxygen. Every function of our nervous system, our lungs, our heart, our rhythm, our muscles need oxygen. Our brain, our eyes, everything. So with the breath, though, it's something that's really interesting. It's a part of the autonomic nervous system, which means that it is automatic. It's a good way of remembering it. So the breath, you're always breathing. So if someone says you stopped breathing, that's not really what they mean. What they mean is that you created shallow breath. Maybe you're under stress, or maybe you're deep in focus, and so you're kind of creating shallow breath. And Here's an interesting chemistry lesson for you. When you make your breath shallow, you actually over-oxygenate your body. So that means that your body, you're not bringing in all that oxygen, which is not turning enough into carbon dioxide. So it's all just remaining just too much oxygen in your body. And that actually creates inflammation. If you think about the concept of antioxidants, that's a whole other conversation. I don't need to go down that theme, but you think about too much of it causes things to rust and get inflamed. So you think of rust is over oxygenating something, right? And so that is an interesting concept when you think about, oh, it can actually reduce inflammation to learn how to breathe properly. So what I've kind of come to discover is that there are really 4 main types of breathing, though there's hundreds of different patterns of breathing. And I hear this question regularly: why do I need to change the way that I breathe? I used to think that quite a bit, and it wasn't until I started understanding our breath is autonomic, automatic. It has to function in order for us to live. But it is one of the few things that you can change in your body, that you can intentionally focus on to actually shift things mentally, physically, emotionally, and even spiritually. And so that's the power of the breath, when you can then take it and just shift your focus and breathe in a certain way. It can give you more energy, or it can calm down a nervous or energized system. It can help you sleep deeper, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. It can help your brain begin to focus and get into a focused state. If you're having a hard time and feeling scattered, sometimes that is actually a chemistry imbalance in your body. And sometimes we think chemistry imbalances need to be fixed with, nutrition or more supplements or changing the diet, the way we eat and live life. But your breath is actually one of the most fundamental pieces that you need in order to shift these things. And learning how to breathe in a certain way can actually help you engage with all of these. Or learning when to apply some of the breaths is actually really important. Why do I sometimes need to breathe slowly, whereas other times I need to breathe fast? Why do I need to sometimes breathe in my nose and sometimes in my mouth? What about breathing in through my chest or breathing in through my diaphragm? Are there differences in that? And I want to tell you that there are. There are different reasons for each of them. And you might be wondering, well, if all of that is true, then why don't I do that in the past? Or, we were built and created by God to kind of naturally exist in a certain way. And, why would I now need to breathe in a certain pattern? And there are answers for that, because there's actually studies going back thousands of years to find optimal breathing rates. And these breathing rates go back a long ways. And even early cultures had these understandings of certain ways of breathing that helped us to heal, to even avoid disease, to connect in greater places with God, to help our bodies. And so we also did this a little bit more naturally before living in kind of this fast-paced society where everything is given to us quickly and we have so many things fighting for our attention. I remember even 20 years ago, I had a very different experience of life before all the cell phones were always kind of on the go and everything was at a different pace. And now we have information at our fingertips. We have things grabbing at us a lot more regularly. So we're even breathing differently now than we were 20, 30 years ago, that they've actually studied this dynamic to understand what is happening in our physical, mental, emotional bodies. So I'm excited to just kind of share a little bit about that and hopefully inspire you to begin engaging in some breathing practices. And if you'd like to learn more about different types of breathing practices and how, why, and where they apply, you can pop on and learn more in my Breathwork practice, my workshop. It's like a masterclass. There's meditations to follow along. There's a lot of depth coming inside of it where you will learn why and where to practice certain ones. We're going to integrate it with prayer and connecting with God so that your whole body, soul, and spirit can do this. You will have some follow along practices as well. There's a lot inside of it that you will enjoy. You can check it out at wholelifefreedom.com/breathe. You can spell it breath or breathe either way, and it'll take you to the right place. So I hope to see you on the inside. And if not, just keep on breathing. Practice your slowing your breath down and just begin to notice the shifts that changes as you simply begin focusing on your breath and watch how that